Gosh, yeah, at this point I have to like stop quoting Ben and actually start speculating.
No. See, this is the thing, because we invited Ben and he didn't show up. So Dominic is going to go tell him Bonnie roasted him and Alex made up quotes from him. And that's what he gets for not showing up. That's allowed. It's okay.
So observables as they exist in the browser right now in our implementation are much more like RxJS observables. Like they spin up a new producer every time you subscribe. That'll be changing at some point, assuming we all agree on the spec change and the design for that. But yeah, that's how you can use it today. And like I said, there's a bunch of code examples in the explainer on the repository, and I can throw a link into the chat here just to give people that. And all the examples should be runnable like right now in Chrome. And
this is so fun. It's like a new toy.
It's a new toy.
For us, it literally is a new toy. Literally.
Yeah. And so we're talking with Ben a lot as well about how his idea, his goal is to basically, he said this before, and like he wants to make RxJS pretty much Lodash for observables. Like get rid of the guts of the observable implementation and all the main meat of it, and just have a cute set of operators that sit on top of the native operators, that if you want some extra fancy toys on top of observables and some fancy operators that do, more interesting things that the browser does not bake in, you can use RxJS. But the idea is the next major version of RxJS would be backwards compatible with the native implementation on the web. And yeah, his goal is to basically slowly obsolete the core guts of that library in exchange for the native version, because we think we have a lot of community hype about it and a lot of precedent with the shape of the API. And so that's sort of the motivation.
I love that. And it's hard to be worried like, well, oh, they're going to deprecate RxJS eventually or whatever. But then this is Ben who's taking it forward. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's actually going right into the browser. It's not going away. I love this. And yeah, we love Ben. I feel like we should roast him because he's not here with us, but we love him. So
yeah, he's great. Now he's been like every step of the way with the proposal. He's been helping me design it, and he's gone to all the standards meetings with it. And so there should be no fear about your RxJS applications just breaking overnight because I added a bunch of stuff to the browser and deleted a bunch of stuff from RxJS. So we're working very closely with the community around this kind of stuff.
The way you use an RxJS observable, it looks very different from now the native ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, like, if I want to write a custom operator, how should I do that? Should you override the prototype, or like do you write a function that takes in the whole observable, but that would then not be so declarative, right? Because you kind of have to wrap it, the source, instead of having like this list of what will happen.
Right. I think the most natural way to do that would be tack it onto the prototype. I've seen that kind of pattern with promises a bit with operators that native promises did not have initially. So I think that's the way I envision it. Ben would know more. Maybe Alex has a comment.
Yeah, I've chatted with Ben a little bit about this, and because he's not here, I can quote him as saying anything I want, and he has to go with it. I think the plan, or like what he talked to me was, he was imagining having an like Rx function that would take kind of the observable and the operators and kind of act like the pipe on the outside, but that it would align with the pipelining spec that was also on standards track. And so that it would be set up so that once pipelining lands in the language, that you kind of have the ability to use a standard observable with the Rx function just taking the operators.
Okay.
Like observable pipeline to Rx of some set of sequences.
But
so it was trying to leverage additional standards coming down the pipe to make that really ergonomic.
So if now someone else develops like an observable library like RxJS, then if we depend on the RxJS implementation of a pipe, then this new or other like observable library, it would not be compatible, right? So if there's like no unified way of piping,
I think you would need to use some mechanism to chain them together, possibly the pipelining spec. I don't know enough to know whether that, how ergonomic that would be.
Also, the pipelining spec comes to the native observables.
It's a TC39 proposal.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know about that.
So it's a little bit detached from observables. Oh, I think you're muted, Bonnie.
Okay, this is the nice thing about this group because I didn't know about it either, and so we're allowed to say, Alex, can you back up and explain that? What, like we're 5, please.
Oh gosh, yeah. At this point, I have to stop quoting Ben and actually start speculating.
No. See, this is the thing because we invited Ben and he didn't show up. So Dominic is going to go tell him Bonnie roasted him and Alex made up quotes from him, and that's what he gets for not showing up. That's allowed. It's okay.